To the reading of the topic about business letter is some letters do not require as elaborate as a plan as others. So a letter to a customer detailing a proposal for a product, sabi niya, purchase will obviously need a more elaborate plan than a thank you note for a business launch or launch. Common sense can usually dictate how elaborate your plan needs to be. If the information you need to present in the letter is limited enough for you to outline it in your head, there is no real need for an elaborate outline featuring Roman numeral headings and subpoints beneath subpoints. So the elaborateness of your plan should suit the elaborateness of the letter to be written. Of course, if you a letter writer are more comfortable constructing detailed outlines for each of your letters, there is nothing wrong with following the procedure with enough practice. However, the simpler letter should flow more easily. In the time you might have spent laboring over outline after outline can be directed more constructively to other areas of business. So we have here the following three steps are essential in planning of any letter. First is researching the facts. Two, analyzing the subject and reader. Then three, knowing your objectives and how to accomplish them. If you follow these steps as you are planning to write any letter, you should find that your letters will be clear and well received and will achieve your desired goal. So, researching the facts. So before you write a letter, it makes sense to know that what you plan to talk about. If you're writing in write whatever comes into your head, chances are you will end up with confused, ineffective letter. Gathering the facts together prior to the composing anything resembles the first draft of a letter. For example, if you are corresponding with the customer, examine all previous correspondence with him or her, depending upon the volume of the correspondence, and assuming that the customer is to be fairly good letter writer. You can glean a good deal about the personality, interests, and values of the person to whom you are writing. So as you examine previous correspondence, jot down a note or two about some key traits you discovered about this customer. So after jotting down information, try to visualize the person to whom you are writing. You know something about the customer's interest. To learn more, you might examine the file on business dealings with the customer. If you learn as much as possible about your reader, it will be easier to write a letter that is directed to the reader. After you have collected some facts of your customer, you should direct your attention to the topic or topics to be covered in the letter. Once again, the simplest, ultimately most effective thing to do is to take a piece of paper and write down those topics you plan to cover. Under each topic, you might write some examples for or a few words recalling a discussion you might have with your customers about it. Timelessness is extremely important in every letter, including the one we are using as an example. You want to get a letter to your customer while the topics being discussed are still fresh in both of your minds. So as you're doing your research, determine how long the discussion about the topics to be included in your letter has been taking place and what, if any, action has already been taken. So, in a fundamental rule, remember, in all your correspondence is the timeless is essential for effectiveness. Ayan. So, did you get the topic? So, analyzing the subject and the reader. So, you've completed your research. You know something about the person to whom you are in writing. You have a good idea that topics will be covered in the letter, so the information you have gathered must now be analyzed so you can logically organize it from the best results. So an outline is a good method of organizing topics and visualizing the order in which you wish to discuss them in the letter. So you can order them the letter chronologically by importance of the topics discussed or whatever order is most effective. Your choice is flexible but must be logical, and you should not mix thoughts in sentences or drop them before they are completed. So to further go beyond, thank you for your interest meeting yesterday. Appreciate the time and information you shared with me. So avoid and excess in the sentences of your letter. If you start rambling, you are bound to get off the track and lose your reader. Remember, be effective in letter writing. You must be able to grab your reader's attention and make the reader react positively whatever it is you are in writing about. So another important thing is remember is the ideas placed in the beginning or end of the paragraph will often stand out most clearly and to the reader. So why knowing your objectives and how to accomplish them? Set objectives for every letter that you write. So if you want customer accept the credit terms you're offering, keep that goal in mind that as you plan and write the letter, as you choose the order of each paragraph and wording of each sentence, you should keep your goal clearly in mind. So the research you did before beginning to write to your customer can help you decide how best to write a letter that will most effective in getting the reader to react in the way you would like it. So your research can be help you familiar with the reader and can tell you what might have moved the reader to act in the past. So we have here the basic organization for the body of of a business letter. Part one of the body is state your purpose. Two, part of the body, explain what you want to happen or explain the information you have. Part three, request a dated action, conclude or thank the reader for his response. So notice that these parts or sections rather than the paragraphs, in some cases, particularly part 1, the parts may consist of more than one paragraph. Let's make a look of each part. For this part, so part 1, the body, get right to the point in the first sentence of the letter when you read the novel. So we'll cut here.